Hi everyone, how are you doing today? Hilda and I are on our way to Osbrook to take care of a few things before our next adventure. First, we'll stop by the tavern, that cozy place filled with the scent of old wood and warm food. There, we'll store our small belongings in the chest, the things we won't need for now, to lighten the load for the road ahead. Then, we'll cook something nice, a warm meal to regain our strength. There's nothing quite like eating inside the tavern while hearing the wind outside and the chatter of travelers. After that, we'll take a short rest. Let Hilda stretch and recover after all the walking, and once we're ready, we'll head out for the tavern quest that Odar recommended. This quest is part of the main storyline and will bring us closer to the more dangerous and mysterious regions we'll explore, with Hilda in the future. There's nothing better than getting into battle mode right after a good rest and a warm meal. Hilda already has her spear in hand, as always. And if you look closely, you can almost see a little smile on her face. She enjoys teaching bullies a lesson, and honestly, after such a calm day, there's no better way to wake up the body than with a good fight. And here we are, finally at the tavern. I never seem to manage to avoid conflict in this quest, but this time we'll try talking to everyone. Maybe someone will listen to reason. And if not, well, you know, Hilda always keeps her spear ready to handle things her own way. If any of you know exactly how this quest works or how to avoid the fight, feel free to leave it in the comments. It'll definitely help for the next run, because yes, there will be another one. Looks like not. Unfortunately, we'll have to defend ourselves and put our skills to the test. Seems like we didn't earn much trust from these guys, but you all saw we tried. Now, into combat. There are quite a few of them, but if we line them up, immobilize them and kite them with the kick, and maybe use some nets, we should be fine. Let's see how it goes. Well, not bad at all. We handled that fight pretty well. Usually, these guys are a bit trickier to keep at bay when they're using other weapons. But something that really helps is luring them around those hop fields and lining them up so they can't rush you too quickly, making the fight more one-on-one whenever possible. Now it's time to pick up the loot, especially the grains, and get ready for our next destination. Things are about to get more interesting from here. We'll go claim the reward, rest, eat something, sell what we don't need, and prepare for what's next. The journey with Verren to the great city of Brynn. From this point on, it's all up to us. Where to go, what to do, and in what order to face everything. Let's go! Remember to take everything valuable from the inn's storage before you set out, especially if you're new, because you won't be back for a while. The journey will be long, and although we'll return to Osbrook eventually, it won't be anytime soon. You'll see what's coming, and make sure to have your coffee ready. All right, for those who don't know this city, welcome to Brynn. This is the place we'll mostly use for trading and getting some really good gear later on. But for now, our mission is different. Verren needs to know what happened to the alchemist, and that's where we're heading. And here we are. I've always really liked this part of the story because it carries that sense of mystery. Entering the alchemist's house, searching for clues, and uncovering what really happened. This game is so well made. The conclusion of all this is that now we're going to start building our own camp with Verren's help. But from this point on, we'll have to plan our steps carefully. Since our camp will start with only the basics, we'll need to upgrade it little by little. The first thing we'll do is recruit another companion, the blacksmith. I could have gone for the hunter first, since that fits our playstyle. But since the blacksmith is already here in Brynn, I'll take advantage of that and save myself a trip later. So, let's go with that plan. Finding the blacksmith isn't exactly simple. First, we need to gather 1,000 gold to start the preparations, and once that's done, Verren gives us the information we need. Then we have to head to the Crafters District here in Brynn to ask around about his whereabouts. And of course, where do you think he is? Yep, at the tavern, enjoying a drink. This guy sure knows how to live, huh? With the blacksmith now settled in our camp and all the matters here in Brynn taken care of, there's only one thing left to do according to Verren's guide. Travel to our second adventure location, Mannshire. Let's get moving and see what that city has to offer. The first thing we're going to do here is check, depending on our budget, if we can buy some upgrades for our camp. And well, who am I kidding? What Hilda really wants is her kitchen and her chickens. A safe and steady source of food. So that'll be our first goal when it comes to camp improvements. Another important thing will be to visit this wise old scholar to unlock our electromancy spells and begin our hybrid path of magic and spears. Once we've upgraded the kitchen, we'll move on to our next big challenge, the first T2 dungeon in Mansure, this time facing humans. It's going to be tough, but I'm sure we can handle it. Hilda's got a lot of potential. Alright everyone, sorry for the little delay to those who came just for the action. But here we are. So, grab your coffee and get something good to go with it. Because this one's going to be interesting. We're definitely going to be put to the test in many situations today. The only new thing we've added to our setup is our new spell, Jolt. A bit of ranged damage and a debuff that lowers immobilization resistance. So, with that said, let's head straight to the entrance. That enemy was really annoying. We had to take it out before it joined the others. But it cost me quite a bit. We'll have to be very careful from now on. Hilda's focus is on another level under pressure. That net not only allowed us to keep that strong enemy at bay, but also let us deal damage to both without wasting our skill cooldown. Nice play. Not bad for our first fight against Tier 2 humans. We had a small problem at the beginning. The archer really knew how to use the terrain to deal damage, but we managed to recover exceptionally well. All right, everyone. Inside the dungeon, our mission is to rescue the captive. The key is probably somewhere near the boss fight, so let's go. We'll take it slow between each battle, because with our super light armor, one mistake could cost us a lot. All right, nothing to worry about for now. I wanted to talk about our new ability, Jolt. I hadn't mentioned that. Besides dealing damage and lowering some resistances, it also has a chance to knock enemies back. And if they happen to hit something, it can cause daze. It can definitely be a situational tool to keep in mind. When the enemy is surrounded by a discharge, it means they have a state that lowers their resistance to immobilization and knockback. Let's call it the resonating state. In the future, this could help us better combine our electromancy spells and strengthen the spear. That net really complicated things. I didn't remember it had that range. I was going to wait one more turn, but it went wrong. From this, we can conclude that, like Arcanist, it will be a very useful tool. Its shield will protect us from these nets, as well as from magic and archers. It's something for the future, but we need to keep it in mind, because we weren't able to kite comfortably. As you can see with this build, especially with the light gear I'm using, we can't get overconfident against any enemy. If we don't use our movements properly or position ourselves well, the situation can become very disadvantageous. I got lucky at times when the enemy ran, instead of hitting me. It could have been worse, but we'll get better at handling these situations. Let's keep learning to react in combat based on what happens. Okay, we've reached the boss fight, and from what I can see, it's well accompanied. Let's lead it to a safe area to handle this fight properly, and in the meantime, we'll wear it down with our jolt. We did it perfectly. Along the way, we used our jolt to deal damage while leading the enemy to the spot we wanted. When someone got close in melee, we pushed them away with a kick or immobilized them with the spear and kept kiting until we reached the door. The net was an excellent play, as it blocked everyone and allowed us to take out the second most problematic opponent. without getting close. Afterwards, the boss went down quickly because the jolt had already done a lot of damage, and the other enemy was the easiest. Everything was executed really well. Now, let's talk about the improvements I want to make to the build. First, we need to check our energy recovery source. The athletics part is probably enough for now. Then, we'll have to work on keeping distance from archers more easily, and getting protections against nets or other ranged crowd control effects. We also need another way to push back opponents when there are more than two in certain situations. Let's see what I come up with as I make my way to finish this mission and claim quests near Mansure. Remember to turn in the first Mannshire contract in this military section, as this gentleman gives more gold as a reward than the others. Plus, since it's duplicated by the Verren mission, it will be a significant amount for this stage of the game. For now, since we're not level 10 yet, we'll go for the Seal of Power upgrade. We'll start by enchanting our basic attacks with magic damage and boosting the damage of our spells a bit. Sounds pretty good. Alright, let's do our shopping. Now that we have a bit more gold, let's buy the chickens and see if there's anything we can improve in our gear. And with this rain sound that I really like, we'll improve the camp. Let's take care of pending matters with Verren, repair things and get ready for our next dungeon. I think it will be quite tough. I feel the skeletons could give us a lot of trouble. Even though we upgraded our gear, our armor wasn't the option I wanted, so we'll still take quite a beating, but we'll handle it smartly. Let's go! Here we are. Let's see how we do in this dungeon. Let's also test our Seal of Power and see how it helps with some extra damage and those fumble attack reduction points it gives us when the seal is of electromancy. So far, easy enemies, nothing much to note. We can see how a bit of extra damage is added to our kit, making enemies fall a little faster. Lots of loot here and few enemies. They're probably all on the other side. Let's see how it goes when we place the relic, because the skeletons will attack us when they sense that energy, and they'll probably be tank skeletons. Let's see what potential we have against these tough enemies. First duel against a lancer. It went pretty well, though we got lucky that it didn't make us bleed. Another thing, I thought the arcane damage from the seal would deal more damage to them, but it didn't. It was the same. Interesting. It wasn't a good fight for Hilda. We positioned ourselves poorly. Luckily, these enemies weren't that strong. What I did count on was the archer, being quite close, missing most of its shots. So I just focused on who to target. For now, if you position yourself poorly, there's not much you can do. We need to improve dimensional shift, so we can switch positions with enemies in certain situations. It will be very useful. Okay, we've reached a point where we need to focus on every step. Let's go against these tank skeletons. It will be tough because our armor penetration is low, and we don't have the ability to stop them from raising their shield to block. For now, we'll do the usual. Choose the right moment to immobilize and wait for cooldowns at the right time. This fight will be longer than usual. Keep the hunter net ready, and let's take on this challenge. Despite all the caution we took, it was tough in the end. I didn't activate the Seal of Power because we were going to be moving a lot. And for now, it needed the energy to kite and immobilize. I thought they wouldn't go through the trap, but they did. That was another factor I hadn't considered. Overall, it went well, though they got a bit lucky chaining their stuns on me, which made things more complicated. And there's the boss. This will probably be tough as well. Let's lead it to a terrain that suits us, because we're poorly positioned here. Let's get inside and fight in a confined area, where the necromancer can't do whatever he wants. It will likely be tough, but we'll have a lot better chances. Everything was going well when we defeated the boss and its first minions, but that Lancer wasn't on our radar. It surprised us with no energy and attacking. It ended up being a pure brawl. Luckily, we managed to come out victorious. So now it's time to celebrate, grab that loot, and then claim our well-deserved reward. And yeah, Hilda definitely deserves her reward from you guys. A big like to keep her motivated for her next battles and to keep bringing you more fun stuff to watch. Thanks for joining me once again on this adventure. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. See you in the next one. And you know what to do. Get that coffee ready because what's coming next is going to be great.